So you guys are really like this book?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It was a great guy. The younger brother Ronnie's a foreman from size.
Oh, it's like, it has. Bad, you put in there. Yeah, that's really terrific. That's good to hear.
All right, Steve.
No, he brought in 5 people.
Depends us.
How are you, bro?
When you come to replace a couple of my bushes.
It's not fine. Don't add.
I'm gonna cut out some of the ones that are. Honestly, almost dead, but they're like great.
Let me know when we're ready. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag. United States of America. To the republic which stands. One nation. Under God. Indivisible with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank you all for coming here this evening. Before we begin our scheduled agenda, is there anyone in the audience that has a question, a concern, an issue for this board that is not on tonight's agenda? That I'll ask to take roll.
Supervisor Mike Blanco,
Here.
Counselors Mark Michelle,
Here.
Lee Hood, here, Dueling,
Here.
Mannion,
Here.
Chiarella,
Here.
Allen.
Here.
Hey. But then I'm gonna jump right into the agenda. There will be some rearrangement based on the number of folks in the audience waiting. Made that mistake before, we'll have people sitting there all night. For agenda items that will come up with something. Not that we're not entertained. All right, anyways, Girl Scout troop. 6B377, presentation supporting Pride Month. Councilor Wood.
Come on up, everybody. So for the folks in the community, this is the Girl Scout troop. I was fortunate enough to meet with them one night. They were working towards their bronze pin. Is that the right one?
Bronze award.
Bronze award, which is the highest level for this level of Girl Scouts that they're in. We got together because they found a need in the community, which they will share, which was Pride. Ended up being Pride Month and the DeWitt Town Hall celebration of Pride. One of the best attended events we've had here at the town hall. So I don't want to steal your thunder, ladies. Go ahead.
Hello, we are Junior Girl Scout Troop 60377. We are here tonight to talk to you about the recent collaboration between our troop and the town of DeWitt for the first Celebrate Pride Month in the town of DeWitt event. The Bronze Award is the highest award a Junior Girl Scout can earn. We had to identify an issue in our community. We decided that the Pride celebration was an important part of our community and it could be better. The project also needs to be sustainable, which is why we are here tonight. We hope you'll see how important Pride events like this are for our community and continue to support it in the future.
Thank you to the town board and rec department for working with our troop to make this year's Pride celebration such a success. Thank you for letting us use your space, for purchasing the flag, for securing vendors, food trucks, and also the DJ and wonderful performers.
This year's Pride celebration was fantastic. We were very happy with the turnout. We estimate that we had about 200 people at our peak time, and we are very happy to report that the parking lot overflowed during the celebration. We were also very impressed with the number of vendors and the food trucks. We thought the advertising we fed on the marquee was clever and effective, and lots of people drive by there. Social media posts were also helpful because they gave a lot of details. In future years, we think getting started earlier and advertising earlier will help spread the word even more. The Pride celebration means a lot to our community. We met a wonderful person named Carol at the event. She shared her story about Girl Scouts being her safe space in the 60s. She said it was wonderful that our troop had organized the Pride celebration because it created a safe space in our community. The number of people in attendance also shows that means a lot to our community. We also noticed a lot of people recording the flag raising on their phones.
I think the event was very important and impactful. I think it was good for the community to get together and have a fun time celebrating the LGBTQ plus people. I think it would be helpful if we had a microphone near the flagpole, so the person reading the proclamation does not have to yell to the entire crowd for the entirety of the long proclamation. I think it was good that it had more of a celebratory feel and was not just all serious. There was a lot of fun included, and it wasn't just reading the proclamation and raising the flag and being done. I'm happy it was more than that, and everyone had fun, and it was very celebratory feel. We think that the number of people was great, especially for the first time. There was an amazing balance of food, music, and activities and stuff to buy. We think that it was fun for all that came, and the event was so obviously meaningful for so many people that were there. The last thing is that for many people, it felt like a celebration. Sorry. We know this because someone said that they had been to many Pride celebrations, but this one felt like a celebration and not more like a ceremony. Next year, we are also hoping to have a Pride parade, even if it is small and in the park. We would also like the Pride flag to be floated in more locations to really show our town's support for the LGBTQ plus community. Perhaps the Pride flag could be flown at the fire station or on other flagpoles on DeWitt Town property. Thank you for your time and effort for helping us make this event.
You.
Comments, follow-up?
Yes. I was a little late, but it was just absolutely wonderful. You all were gracious, you were helpful, you were guiding, answering questions. I had a really, really good time, and the representation of your being there and your troop leader spoke volumes to a community that is often felt like sometimes they don't always fit in, but you made sure that everybody was welcome. And the dance, like when they started the performance and everybody just got out and started dancing on their own with it, I was like, well, got some moves. It was. And lastly, when the ice cream truck, it said, I only have one flavor. The best flavor last was chocolate. They had nothing left but chocolate. The best, it was good, everything. Job well done, ladies. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, thank you.
I just wanted to apologize to you because I didn't make the event. But I had prior committed, I do it every year, and I don't need the tent, set it up at the great big center, a fundraiser. So pretty quickly. And I was hoping that I would get out early enough. Any other comments? Well, thank you very much.
Oh, it is.
Hey, I'm gonna jump down to the Jamesville Limited.
How are you? So Supervisor Mike Lampo, members of the board, thank you very much for allowing me to present and considering our request to waive the fees associated with our concession stand project. My name is Jake Corcoran. I'm the president of Jamesville Do It League, which I've a position I've held for about 2 years now, going back to 2022. Thank you for also tolerating me as a public speaker. Yes, I teach up a Lemoyne, but that's public speaking. It's a little sometimes off the cuff. So to give you a little context of why I'm here, each year, Janesville Little League facilitates baseball and softball to approximately 250 to 300 kids across town of DeWitt, Janesville, even going into Syracuse and Fayetteville. That's just in the spring season. We'll also have another 100 or so kids that play fall ball as well. So this includes kids not only in the Janesville DeWitt School District, but also children who attend Holy Cross, Families Pebble Hill, and other schools. From what I know, Janesville DeWitt Little League has been established since 1963. I don't have a complete, accurate chronicle of when exactly the league was born, but it's been a long time. And so I'd like to think that our Little League has been an important part of the DeWitt community for many years. So despite other leagues within our Little League district suffering certain losses of players over the last couple of years, I'm happy to say that since the pandemic, the season of 2021, since there was no baseball or softball in 2020, our league has grown incrementally each of the last 4 years, adding in numbers. So our league is strong. And we have a great team of all volunteers, a couple of which are with us today in the front row. I have my treasurer, Matt Doran, his son, his nephew, and then our social media correspondent and jack of all trades, Amber Schmidt, and her son, Zach, who's in this incredible Hulk uniform. So yeah, we have a great team. And so when I took over this position, and many of the members of the board that are currently serving on our board of directors have also began their work at the same time. We focused on two different ways to improve the league. One was to improve player development. And so people like our majors coordinator, Mike Jordan, have gotten teams together and played throughout the winter, gotten winter ball teams to continue year-round play. Our other major focus was to improve the fields on which players were actually competing. So we were lucky enough to be a partner on the Linden Fields projects, where we assisted in that attempt at improving the fields and dugouts and fencing over there. So to that end, St. Mary's Field in Jamesville is what I consider the heart of our league, and the only place in which our players compete that doesn't belong to the Syracuse or the Janesville DeWitt School District. While we appreciate that relationship, I think that St. Mary's Field is kind of like our jewel, and a place where I call home to Janesville DeWitt Little League. It's a place where 11, 12-year-olds like Harry just recently graduated out of. It's the last kind of experience they get with Little League before moving on and playing things like modified ball. So it was obvious when assessing the needs of that field and the field conditions there that we needed to upgrade and renovate the concession stand, which I think has been there for about 40 years. It's a simple brick and mortar building, small footprint. Tied to that, there was no greater need at St. Mary's Field than getting bathrooms that have running water and that are tied to the sewer line. For a long time, for as long as I can remember and been a part of the league, we've always had porta potties there. And for as long as I can remember, I've had parents, grandparents, small children, everybody asking me, are we gonna get bathrooms here soon? So you can imagine after a few weeks of hot, steamy games that the porta potty isn't so pretty. Aside from the inconvenience to our players, our parents, small children's grandparents, and costs associated with repetitively, continuously renting the porta potties each year, it's prohibitive for our league because we've been unable to host certain things like international all-star games because the tournament hosts have been places like Baldwinsville, Fayetteville Manlius, or Cicero Fields, which have larger complexes and a full array of amenities, including bathrooms, not porta potties. So we can also perhaps envision improvements also allowing us to use that field as a satellite field for certain bigger tournaments that might be played over at Carrier Park. Lastly, I can't understate the importance of providing bathrooms that, unlike the porta potties, would be ADA compliant. So the problem is that there are several financial challenges that are met when it comes to completing this humble yet costly project. The first is the fact that we're a small youth organization. We're tied to Little League, but our league is small. And like most Little Leagues, rely on three sources of revenue. One is registration, another is sponsorship, and the third is probably meager, modest concession stand income. Most of this goes right back out. And so it pays for the uniforms, it pays for new equipment, it pays for field maintenance, registering all-star teams. And so it's in one hand and out the other, which is troublesome when you want to perform capital improvement on your facilities. And then during the pandemic, we had most of those income sources kind of cease altogether, and it was difficult up until the last couple of years to build back up our sponsorship and get larger numbers where we would make more from registration. The other fact is that I'm sure as you know, capital project costs have increased significantly over the past few years, which has complexed the situation along with less forms of income. So in conclusion, for these reasons, we are kindly asking the board to forgive the fees that are associated with the site plan application because they are significant to us. And if possible, the sewer connection fee, which is a longer or a larger cost and expense. We appear, I think we're scheduled because when we got the paperwork in, we're scheduled to appear before the planning board at the end of this month. I believe it's June 27th. And with the support of the town board and the planning board, we hope that you see fit to approve our requests so that we can get this work underway as soon as the season ends, which is very soon. So that's it. Thank you for your time.
All right, thanks. Yeah, I'll start and then we'll open up to the board and we can open up to the audience for discussion. We're in a tough spot. I'll start out by saying we would like to be able to accommodate any way, shape, or form. But I do want to say we literally get inundated. Maybe a dozen, and there are literally dozens, or if not hundreds of not-for-profits, good causes, individuals in hardship, that go through crises that are deserving funding. But it's a fine line between the use of taxpayers' money in those causes. And so I have a couple of questions and I think we have a path forward, but it's complicated. We have a couple of instances that I'll cite right now. In fact, some of them are in the audience. We have Carrier Park. It's the home of the Syracuse Challenger baseball program, right? And they have use of that park in perpetuity because, again, it's a worthy not-for-profit great cause. Inclusion, as you can see, is part of our mission. But they're also fundraising to the tune of millions of dollars for that park. And then we have the Fiddler's Dream Park, and there is an association. It is a not-for-profit. It is on a much smaller scale, but they do all the design work and planning for the park and the project. Now the difference there is both of those parks have not-for-profit connections that have decision-making authority and so on. Is the parcels are owned by the town. And so who currently owns the St. Mary's Park right now?
That's complicated. So
Yeah.
unbeknownst to us, it's the majority of it is owned by the Little League. So unbeknownst to us, when we took over a couple of years ago, we found out that the last 50 or 60 feet of our outfield and a sliver of property belongs to the school district. And so we have yet to, because we've been busy with this, you might see it coming down the pipeline, a site plan we've already approved it with the school district. The land has already been appraised. We've already had a survey done to purchase that sliver through subdivision it's like a 1,000 square feet. It's really not that much.
And any time that we take in private lands in the public domain, we ourselves have made sure that insert, there was a clause inserted that at any point in time the town failed to use it for those dedicated purposes or wanted to sell it. In the case of Carrier Park, the land would go back to Carrier. So that it protects it from future boards deciding they want to make a profit on it. So Fiddler's Dream go back to Hanson before we closed the park and decided it wasn't public space, or we wanted to sell the land. So we can't, the community not accepting from the Janesville Fire Department.
we're looking to convert the old building into a public space for community use. It has a clause in the memorandum of understanding and exchange that it would go back to the fire department should future town boards decide it wasn't a public space or a community. And so I haven't even talked to my other board members, I just haven't had a chance, but one of the things we could see is this, we're in the town's ownership and we have put a memorandum of understanding together. It would always be at the disposal of somebody. It would be your home, your property to work with, it would be under public ownership. In that case, we have no, it's our obligation to provide sewer to the park and the facility, because it's ours. So that's an offline discussion we could have, but and I think thanks for some of that discussion, but otherwise, I mean, you still have the appeal. There's 6 other votes here, but it's a real slippery slope for this board to decide what not-for-profits support versus which ones we don't. I'll tell you right now, the Assembly Little League pays us to use our, it's not their home, it's not dedicated. I mean, so what we're talking about here would give you a special location that does not enjoy. This carries the park. Still in this process, but it's we can't afford it. So any other comments from the board?
Yeah, let me say, you're asking us to waive the planning board review fees, right?
I believe that's a $1,100 fee and another $500 on top of that for miscellaneous fees associated. Yep.
Which I'm okay with. I mean, it's a volunteer organization. Nobody gets paid at JD Little League.
That's right.
What do we, the sewer hookup, what do we think that's gonna, what?
I believe that's a $3,000. I previously thought it was a $5,000 fee. I think it's three.
More person.
So it says 5 in the
It
letter.
says 5 in a letter, but that's an old number and it's a
So-
deep and complicated sewer system.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying with the memorandum of understanding, that would be our obligation.
I would request that I do believe our contractor does all the sewer hookups. That we could possibly approach them to see if they'd be willing to
Donate services.
donate their services for the sewer hookup. You guys would be responsible for materials, but I think they would. I mean, it's Little League. I mean, I think my son started playing up there 25 years ago. And that snack shack was a hole and the porta potties were disgusting. So I think it's a great improvement for everybody in the town and for the Little League and the players and the parents and the grandparents and the handicapped. So that would be my compromise.
And I don't disagree with a word you're saying, I just have a concern that there's been many worthy causes in front of us in my tenure here that we've turned away.
I don't recall us ever turning anybody away. So.
Maybe I've done that before they got there.
I mean, again, this is the JD Little League. They're part of the town of DeWitt. And again, this is not a not-for-profit that's out there paying people and whatever. It's strictly kid-based. And I mean, my compromise would be I'm okay to approve waiving of the planning board review fees. And then let's talk to our contractor to see what kind of arrangement we can to at least reduce your sewer hookup fees.
Worth a try.
My only question, and I don't think you're going to know the answer, Chad, is do we have a standing precedence regarding waiving fees or non?
Only time that I know we've made the planning board or permit fee is when we've made a mistake. Right, we have made a mistake with homeowners over permit fees. And and rightfully so, we corrected the mistake by waiving.
Do we have any recent history of not-for-profit fee waivers?
couple I recall. Community room fees, we would. Or the community room fees just in the last couple months, we wouldn't. There was a guy with the car show.
We could argue that those aren't even, we're talking apples to oranges in terms of planning board fees versus recreational use fees. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out where a standing precedent may lie.
We haven't set a precedent.
Okay.
My waiving, the time we waive fees is when we've made a mistake.
Thank you.
Question, you mentioned contingent upon these fees all being waived, that the work would begin. And is that work, am I to understand those would be bathrooms in the concession stand?
Correct. So the existing footprint of the concession stand would remain, and the plan is to expand that building towards the Fields parking lot where the 2 bathrooms would be added. And we'd like to proceed with that work or begin the work
At the end of the season?
at the end of the season, which is coming up in a couple of weeks. We'll have some activities there, and hopefully in July, we'd like to break ground, and presumably the sewer would be the first thing to be done, followed by the new concrete pad, et cetera.
And would there be upgrades to the concession stand as well during that time?
So most of it, I think the three walls would remain the same. We'd still have a concession stand window. I think we're going to have a utility room installed inside, just to house the water meter, to have a hot water tank, things needed for the bathroom. But aside from that, there's not going to be any large scale changes to the concession stand where we're going to put a grill in there, deep fryer or anything like that. We're still going to have a basic building to sell Gatorades and chips out of.
And my follow-up to that is mentioned that fundraising that Carrier Park does, their connectivity to donors. What does your fundraising component look like?
Well, I wish we could say that we got millions of dollars. We wouldn't be here, but we began some small scale fundraising last fall when we started to do some of the restaurant fundraisers that school PTAs do. We've generated probably a few $100s through that. We've also just recently reached out to private donors. And we've very quickly, in a matter of a month, been able to get to generate about $5 grand from people that have had players in the league, one business, a couple families that have players in the league currently. So they've been very generous, some of the donations that we've received, and we're going to extend that through into the fall and hopefully continue to fundraise through that. We have also been able to secure some donations, or at least some potential donation of materials and services from plumbers for the plumbing work, as well as possibly we've got 2 roofing sponsors. One of our sponsors for the league this year, whose sponsor is a roofing and door company. And so they have offered to include some of I think we will probably need 3 doors for the project into the work. So we're hoping that those things pan out and that will reduce the cost of the construction significantly, not altogether, but where we can make it more affordable.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
So, yeah, if Councilor Mannion's proposal were to go forward, would you be able to start the project without knowing the actual cost of the sewer hookup yet?
Yes, I think we're prepared to do that. We've also received a $15,000 Onondaga County hospitality grant. We're in the process of waiting for some other fundraising, like the Jim and Julie Boeheim Foundation. We have a grant in there. I think the deadline for that was May. We also submitted to the Greater Syracuse Sports Hall of Fame. So I think with a combination of what we have currently in our savings, as well as the money that we've received from private donors and other givers, that I think that we can afford it. But we run the risk of eliminating all of the potential savings that we have in our account. And just this past year, we had we have to keep a little bit there for incidentals. Like this past year, we had part of our backstop collapsed, and that was a $2,500 repair. We installed a brand new scoreboard for $6,000. So there's certain things that we can't we won't be able to know about. We want to keep a little bit in our savings, but we're prepared and we do have the funding to complete the project, should we not receive it. It would be very helpful if we could.
Pleasure of the board.
Well, I was just gonna ask what your interest was, to supervisors. Idea of the town taking ownership of the field, and then providing, the JD Little League could use it in perpetuity. And then take some of those responsibilities, off of the Little League, for maintenance and whatnot.
I don't want to speak on behalf of my board, because that would need to be discussed with our board of directors. So we'd have to have a discussion ourselves about whether or not that would be something that we'd be willing to do.
And there would always be a clause in there, should the town fail to meet that obligation, it could revert back to the organization. I mean, we've both done that on all our donations. Whatever we collected.
Does the supervisor's offer though change potential, the potential ask for you tonight? I mean, is that something that you'd want to go back to the board of directors for? Are we getting a cart before a horse and you don't want to ask for a fee waiver, begin digging, and then potentially want to come back to the town?
I think that would definitely be something I'd want to do first before, yeah.
Yeah, well, but the type of thing it opens up to is payments, for example. Surely now you're paying lawn service or something. Well,
I'm on one right now. Yeah.
Gotta go there right after
So it's a different kind of cost.
but the buildings, the facilities, the roof, fencing, all that stuff becomes something that the town places to pay for, but also there's a responsibility side of it.
Yeah.
So sewer, water. Believe it or not, the fee to the planning board goes away. We don't take our own projects to them.
Yeah.
But, whatever you decide or whatever this board decides.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your
I
time.
mean,
Absolutely.
do we want to vote or not?
Absolutely.
It's up to you.
I mean, 'cause I personally don't want the field as a town property. Why, we don't need the liability, extra costs, insurance. This is a simple request. I mean, they're asking us to waive the planning board fees. And we can work on the sewer hookup. I don't think we can.
With sewer.
We can't waive that, but we can work with Rocco to figure out what's the lowest we can get.
And I've always had the mindset of more parks. We have to look at plans that the town.
Pretty deep
picks
over
up.
there.
Fiddler's Green, Fiddler Park, neighborhood green spaces. Playgrounds,
Paying for
we have the institutions in place to take care of us. But we pay a huge liability insurance rate whether they own that park or not. And it's.
I'm gonna go along with Bernard Alex and Councilor Mannion. I'm for it.
Are there, within the planning board fees, James not here, would there be any external fees that we would have to pay out? Are we paying,
It's pretty simple.
No,
I mean, there's already existing snack shack building there.
I'm just gonna add on to it.
Which is basically like a shed. And it's gonna add on to it one bathroom or two bathrooms.
Two bathrooms that are.
yeah, so we're sending it out.
Would we be absorbing any of the fee costs though, if they have to go to a third party engineering for review and approval at the planning board level? Is what Matt's is getting to, is if we say we're going to waive the $5,000 fee, but then there's $3,000.
It's the $1,500.
But the $1,500, so Sarah has my point there is if we're going to then have to turn around and pay an engineering firm $500 to review the plans, then
Yeah,
that's.
we pay a Rambo and Miller engineers.
So we would be absorbing the cost. Cost doesn't disappear to zero. It's just the town would accept the waived fee and we would absorb it.
Someone's paying those folks.
Okay. And the only point I have, I think this is a fantastic opportunity, is we would be then setting a standing precedence that nonprofits would be absorbed through us if they ask for a fee waiver.
I don't think so.
You don't think
I
so?
don't
I
think
think you could waive about 1,100 and get 5, and then they could take all the charges out of 5.
That's all I'm saying is we're establishing a precedence right now is all, because there isn't one on the books.
You had the 5, then at least you could pay out the attorneys and engineers. And then- But I think that the only one we're considering, just to be clear, for undue hardship would be the planning board fees. Sewer is a different discussion. I don't think it's $5,000. But sewer, it's gonna be much higher.
It's sewer runs parallel to where the building is, so it's a matter of about, I think, 20 feet luckily, so it's not a long connection.
Janesville was not on sewers, and that sewer project was quite a while ago.
It was 18.
So you're right on main
18 years.
trunk line.
Yeah.
That trunk line was sited between the school. This is the least disruptions. So it runs behind the house on one side. It's gravity fed.
Yeah.
Is the other issue. So low, it's lower than 173, so catching houses on both sides of the street. And take it down. Under the creek behind Harbors.
So I know it's not the same function or the same bit of law, but I think I'm thinking about it the same way as we do the water. When we do the water waivers, that we waive basically the administration, but we can't lower it beyond what our costs are, the costs of the water that are going out.
I don't know, we pay lines by projects.
I don't think we can use that comparison. It's too many different variables.
Well, but just the concept of if there is. I don't know, that would be if we itemize by project, that if they would know that the hours they were spending working on this, that were. We have that ability.
Yeah, I think our current building, like the planning board attorney, planning board engineering. So I don't believe they itemize by project the reviews.
Fees aren't gonna go up or down whether they appear in front of them and that's my feeling.
Okay, I have a suggestion. I agree that we ought to waive the $1,100 and $500, that's 16, not 1,500 for you math majors over there sitting on the other side of the room. Notre Dame. What I'd like to do is go back to the sewer and water vendor, who was Malone, and make the suggestion that they donate it. That's the labor portion, which is what Ed spoke of earlier. So I could go to them and talk to them about it. Then Chad, I would give them your name and number to talk about it, and then we could set up a meeting. If they say yes, we could set up a meeting to take them over there and have them look at it.
That would be,
It's likely to be more successful.
that would be much appreciated.
It's actually doing it before Kerry was born.
Much
I don't think so, Jay.
So I'd be glad to take that on.
All right, so, and I'm willing to further the discussion on the ownership. Because the gas, maintenance. It doesn't have to get resolved. Entertain a motion from Counselor Mannion to waive the fees. I'll entertain a second from Joe.
Which fees?
The
16, not
planning board
1,500.
review, one more, so the total not to exceed $1,600, right? I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained, motion's carried. But again, still continue that conversation about.
Okay.
Some of us are in favor of expanding our.
I got his number. What do you think, Joe? You got his number? It's right there. I know
Just for what it's
I know
worth,
he's
we
a golf,
have
but I can
the
go up to the morning and get
We
him.
have the community room coming, fire barn down the street. It's the old one. The town is gonna pick up ownership of that, and we're gonna convert that into the community room, and there'll be a before and after school program run out of that in the seniors program. The acquisition of the St. Mary's lot with our Parks and Rec department. Programs that are some more than just to security for the bond.
Yeah.
In terms of
lawn mowing, maintenance of the sewer, lawn mowing. If you want one of us to come to a board of directors meeting, we'll continue that conversation.
Okay, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I appreciate all of your time. Thank you.
Chad.
I'll get a hold of you.
Excellent. Appreciate it.
And I was trying to get your attention, sir. I'm Mrs. Cooper. And I'm gonna be the commissioner over here. And my grandchildren. I've been
Right to the.
on behalf of child parents.
Number two on that.
Oh, all right.
Before that. Did not know why. They do.
Good night, man. I just want to say thank you all for your time. We appreciate it very much.
How are you? Hi, thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I still have it.
Hi.
Working with East Syracuse Little League Hunter.
I'm taking these things with me. I appreciate, I mean, you know all the hard work.
Yep.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I heard about your sidewalks.
Yeah.
Council, over there, they are.
Yeah.
We're.
Where are-
Great job working.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it. Yes.
Big deal.
Yes, they are, they're beautiful, so thank you guys for improving that.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, so Churchill Road, structure request for extension of public water. I didn't realize we were supposed to wait that line to.
It's okay. It's just not clear. Can Mike actually speak here? He didn't. Take him off mute. Yep. Mike Vogel is on.
Oh, that is.
Mike, there. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Can't see me though, just can hear me. I can see you guys though, so. Thank you. So, I'm Mike Fogel. I'm an attorney. I represent the developer, Dan King, who's there tonight. Also with Dan is Scott Freeman from Keplinger Freeman Associates, who, the landscape architect for, the subdivision project. The subdivision project is a 8-lot subdivision. It's located at 6542 Woodchuck Hill Road. For the previous probably around 2 years, we've been in front of the planning board obtaining subdivision approval for the project. We obtained subdivision approval a couple months ago, several months ago, and the developer's now in the process of taking care of all the other aspects that he needs to start construction. One of the aspects involves the form that we provided to the town board for its review that I believe is part of their agenda packet for tonight. And that involves a form that we have to submit to County Department of Health, basically showing that, you know, there's water for the project in order for them to approve septic systems for the overall septic design for the project. One of the aspects that we were required to prepare was water plans for the actual project. The project's within an existing water district, but will require, you know, an extension of water lines within that existing district. So one of the things that my client did, he engaged an engineering firm, RZ Engineering, to prepare a water plan, which I think is also part of the agenda packet. That was reviewed and after some back and forth on design, was ultimately approved by Doug Miller, the town's engineer. So that's already been through kind of that process of being reviewed and approved by Doug. In order to take the next step, in order to get the County Department of Health approval, we're required to submit this form from the host municipality, basically stating that there's water available for the project. So in order to have the county proceed to issue final approvals for the septic design and septic system, we have to submit this form. So that's why we're in front of the town board, because the form is required to be signed by the town. So after talking to Attorney Natoli about how we go about securing the signature from the town, he asked that we appear in front of this board and make a presentation and then request that the town board consider a resolution authorizing the supervisor so that we can submit it to the County Department of Health and continue to move forward with obtaining all approvals for construction. If there's technical questions that you'd like us to answer, I can try to answer them, or Scott Freeman's there tonight and he can try to address those as well. But I think the important thing to note is that the water plans themselves, the engineering design was approved as part of the planning board's review and approval of the subdivision, and was also reviewed, and as part of that, reviewed and approved by town engineer Doug Miller. So we wanted to make sure you're aware of that. If there's any questions, we're happy to answer them.
Right, I've just been advised this is for a formality by the town attorney. Any questions? Comments?
Hey, Rocco, you and Doug, I'm sure have looked at this closely.
Yeah, Doug is okay with it.
You're okay with it?
12-inch main right across Woodchuck, so.
Right there.
Everyone's in our district already, so we don't have to extend the district or
Right.
change the district or anything. We just need to form the steps. One of them.
Okay, so I'm gonna need a. Motion. I have a motion from Joe, a second. Gary, for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same, motion's carried.
Thank you
Mike,
so
can
much.
you hear me?
Yes,
I'm gonna have this form signed and I'll send it to you and Dan tomorrow.
perfect. And I know it wasn't formally an agenda item. It is part of the agenda packet, but Matt, that's the
The
request.
O-chip's in there if you want to talk about the O-chip while the board's still listening.
Okay, so, and Dan, do you want to talk about the O-chip part of it?
Sure. Thank you. First of all, thank you for that motion. So I'm Dan King, I'm the developer. Mike is representing me. The O-chip request is very simple, very straightforward. And just to be clear, we're only here for 2 signatures tonight and no other asked. We have one, so let's get the second. So County Executive McMahon has a program called the O-chip program that is designed to spur housing. We all know this. This is not new information. The county has money set aside. Part of the application process to be considered for those funds is that a support letter be provided by the local municipality where said project is to be constructed. We have provided a sample, which hopefully you've had an opportunity to review. You're welcome to modify that language as you see fit. But again, a simple request is that a motion would be made authorizing the supervisor to sign said support letter, allowing us to submit to the county seeking funds supporting the project. Questions?
Yes, is it a one-time support?
Developers are permitted under the program to submit as many times as they want, but funds will only be awarded 2 times to each individual developer. This has been going on for quite some time. Projects are getting approved.
What I'm asking is our support, the second signature after this evening, is that solely, is it site specific? So we tell the county we're supportive of this. This letter can't be transmitted in other locations.
Oh, no, absolutely.
It's not a programmatic support.
No, sir. It's site specific, project specific. It is.
All right. See the drawings and then we'll, in essence, what are you looking at the? That's right. Is that?
If you asked me that question 24 months ago, I probably could have gave you a good answer. You know, they could be $350,000 homes, they could be $2 million homes. It's very, very difficult to say. Today's environment is strange.
You can build a home up there for $350,000.
I'll take one.
You're a genius. I'll take all 8 of them.
So you guys understand, we're just living in kind of a wild world as it relates to construction, development, all of that. It's very hard for me to say. And I don't want to tell you anything that's not accurate. So, a wide range, sir.
The OCHIP program is to look to provide housing opportunities, as you shared, because there is such a deficit in Onondaga County, Syracuse, and all surroundings. How then, as you shared, will it range from 350 to 2 million with persons that have resources to purchase a home? How is that addressing a housing need in Onondaga County? They can live anywhere. They have the resources to purchase and be anywhere. How then would you receiving these additional supports or indoor funding and our signature help answer the housing need in Onondaga County?
Well, we're currently, as the site sits today, it's one parcel, it's one piece of land, it's vacant right now. I've already invested hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm going to continue to invest hundreds of thousands of dollars to create 8 building lots, which would create 8 additional homes for future residents or current residents of this particular county. So that's 8 houses that don't exist today.
For persons who have resources and or options. So the majority of the people that the funding was designed for are people that don't have options and or resources.
I think the program specifically states that it's utilized or could be utilized for a variety of uses. One of which is considered infill development. This is considered infill development in that there's existing infrastructure surrounding the site. Most of the utilities are there and present, and we're just tapping and creating. I didn't write the program rules, to be very clear. I'm only reading and interpreting those program rules, and I think your question is fair and valid. The ultimate decision on this is made at the county level, and they will decide if it addresses those needs or doesn't. I don't know. It's not my decision to be made. My request is simply, does the town support the county's initiative to provide additional housing? And are you willing to say that this project is one step in that direction?
Just based on my understanding of the county execs statements regarding this, it was meant towards affordable housing and mixed use development. That's what I heard.
Yes.
The county executive. The other issue is with this particular site that you're so far out in front of it, the Rod and Gun Club. I mean, they're a fishing game club, but skeet shooting on the weekends and everything. I mean,
Yeah, so it's a great question.
8 little homeowners are gonna come in there and call me. Saturday morning when.
It's a fair question. I think we've addressed it already to this point through, and Mr. Fogel spoke to this, through the exhaustive process with the town's planning board. That came up. There's language. The site plan specifically notates that all of these lots are adjacent to an active quarry and industrial site and to the DeWitt Fishing Game Club. Future buyers will be very aware of that. It's not for everyone. I'm the first to say that. It is not for everyone. It takes the right individual, the right person to want to live there, want to build a home there. Maybe they join, maybe they don't. I don't know.
Coming back to Bernard's line of questioning, has the county indicated to you that this project would be eligible for such funds?
I have not spoken to the county. Not once. So there's a chain of events here. We can't submit to the county unless we can provide a letter of support from the municipality where the project is to be constructed. So I could call and talk to them about it. They're gonna say submit, and then we'll talk about it. And per the program rules, I can't submit unless I can provide a document stating such.
It's usually, I run a small not-for-profit site solely on grants. And we do a no-go co-decision before we ever submit, because submissions usually take time and money. And if you're not eligible, it's an obvious no-go. Again, it's my understanding this money was spent or directed to affordable housing and mixed-use development.
Do you know, and I don't know if you know, the OCHIPS pot of money, is it a finite quantity of money so that if we were to pass this through and you got, say, $100,000, that removes $100,000 from the availability of the pot to go towards the intended purpose of mixed use or at market housing? Does anybody know that answer?
Yes, it would.
It would.
It's $10 million set aside.
Okay, thank you.
Pleasure.
I don't see what harm it does for us to approve and let the county make that
I
decision.
know, I just like to go ahead and say that, you know, Ryan likes you.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics of the OCHIP and how it was written. But I don't see what harm it is for us to support the project, and if the county says this doesn't even come close to fitting what we're looking for, let's do that.
Okay, Sarah?
You have an amount that you're looking for per unit? You're gonna be requesting?
It's listed in the program. The max available for this particular project would be $40,000. It's $5,000 per single family lot according to the program guidelines.
Okay, our information didn't word it that way, thank you.
I think I had 2 votes in favor right now. What's the rest of the board?
I would have stayed.
I think I think we can word the letter in such a way. I mean, the letter really is written.
You're not supporting no.
Not supporting the OCHIP proposal. It's just saying that basically the town is supportive of building more housing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we're generally supportive of more housing. This is another, there's never been housing in that specific spot before. I would agree with Bernard. It would be great if we could get more affordable housing, and that's what OCHIPS is for, but that's, I guess it is up to the county to enforce their own rules.
Trust them to what they said.
Nope.
All right, so I'll entertain a motion. Joe, second,
second.
Gary,
It's on fire.
any further discussion? I'll call for the vote, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed? All right, I oppose as well. Max opposes, all right, abstains? Abstention, 2 abstentions.
The second. Bernard and Sarah.
Yeah. Yes, all right, I'm sorry.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Thank you, guys.
All right, let's go right to the ban on the Carrier Park Finance. Discussion. Right in your package, you'll see, I know that, Gary Fusco, Comptroller's Office, and work very closely with, antagonist group. And their team put together a combined financing mechanism up to $13,500,000, and what that includes is a package up to $7.5 million for the Cherry Park project and additional 6 million for our water projects. And there is quite a length set of whereas there, and I'm not gonna read that for the record, but I will, the opening, opening paragraph, if that's the stage for this. This is a resolution authorizing the issuance and the sale of cereal bonds in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $13.5 million. The town of DeWitt, County of Onondaga, and the state of New York to the local finance law of the state of New York. Or to finance a class of objects and places consisting of improvements to or embellishments to a park or recreation area of not less than 25 acres, including rules carriers, recreation center, and B, a class of objects or purposes consisting of the acquisition, construction, reconstruction, and addition to the water supply or distribution system, including the acquisition and installation of water metering equipment. I do believe we've had a number of discussions on this. What this will allow us is to start to proceed with the construction of phase 3. Area Park, field. And I have a follow-up resolution request, and I'm gonna ask Alan in a minute to come to address the board regarding a donation possibility presented to the Friends organization. Are there any questions?
The only, can I add?
Yes.
I just wanted to add that this is also subject to permissive referendum.
Yes.
So they have that somebody can Matt probably.
Yes, somebody can start a petition to get it to a vote, but there are certain rules for that. Which I won't go through now.
Right, and this is, I assume one resolution, right, stop all of this about that. Yes. One resolution starts in your package. Page 18, actually, that's page 17, runs through page 27. Any questions, comments?
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna vote tonight, and obviously I am in favor of this, but when do we get actual details of kind of interest rates? What kind of amortization terms we're talking about? We can really do a deeper financial analysis of what the total costs are.
Correct, but this will start that bond process. This is, what this will do, I believe you've seen numbers on the cost of the ban. What this will start is a bonding process that initiates with a ban, bond anticipation. That bond anticipation note where 2 annual fees, which are really pennies on the dollar. So it's been our intent all along to authorize the ban. Right now, I think we have a total of $13,000 in cost invested in this. And then those ban numbers will come up and the cost will be in the order of tens of thousands of dollars for the next 2 years. When the conversion to a bond occurs 2 years ago. And the way this is being stipulated is these numbers are fluid. The hope is that we do not have to bond for $7.5 million 2 years ago. That there is a significant amount of fundraising that occurs over the course of years.
So from what I understand, talking to Carrie, is that unlike the last ban that we did where it was small enough that she was able to go to the bank and get a rate and present it to us. That this one is of a size that the experts that we're going with are actually basically gonna go out and bid that ban. And so it's not until we get like a bid document, not until we open those bids coming back for what the different banks will be able to cover that we'll actually know specifics, but hopefully, I think 6 weeks, I think that's what
Well, we can't get that until we
start this.
right, until we do this.
And at that point, then we make the decision.
To move forward, I think you're saying, are we gonna get locked in on something we don't have? Sightline too, that's my concern.
I think we can stop it at that point. I don't think going out to the bid on it forces us to actually take it if it's bad terms. I think we can just say, nope, that didn't work.
Domenico, are you able to speak again to your, I think we saw an update of a fundraising estimate update that came through as well? Is that?
Part of the resolution that I'm.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm interested in hearing that as we pursue
One of the
this.
things I believe is Jennifer is $1 million donor in the wings, waiting for the decision on this ban tonight.
Waiting for a tax.
So.
And we have the presentation, so I can feel what sort of financial risk we're going to be taking and then including the new fundraising projections before we bid on going to the.
Sure. What Dominic wants to present is a specific resolution for an expenditure of $475,000 to the Valleys. To donate. They basically want the town to guarantee that their name and logo with their organization. All that.
In
You want to come forward?
But
First? Sure.
I mean, generally,
And as for the $1 million donor, he has told me that he's very interested, but he is waiting for the town's decision on whether you're moving forward with building the rest of the park. I don't have a commitment from him until we have a commitment from the town to finish the park.
and the general idea is hotel tax will absorb the bond. So I just want to make sure that we're lined up when we get the numbers back.
Right, well, we've got the Friends organization, and from what I see right now, they're in the range of $5 million already committed. They have another in the wings. The proposal that I forwarded to you from J.D. Horace is predicting an income of a complete park of $1 million coming to the town. Hotel tax, can be done per year.
About 250. About 250 a quarter.
No,
Quarter. First quarter was 175.
Yeah. Expecting.
Hopefully between $750,000 and $1 million.
More in the second quarter because we found 5 of the non-payers. And they paid.
Right, so if we're at about $250,000 a quarter, roughly plus or minus $1,800,000 to. That, if you take our cost, let's say currently bonded $4 million to constitute $75,000. Which that, let's say we have closing that. 300,000 a year. Accelerated cost, even like $8 million bond. Under.
I
come in under.
Yeah, I mean, again, when we applied and we got the hotel tax approved by the state, part of that was, it was specifically, not specifically, but generally for carrier park improvements. So I just want to make sure as we go through this process over the next month or two that, all those payments line up. I think they will.
Again, I'm thinking, until I tax the loan, it's covering the cost of this.
Yeah.
We can't extend it. Correct. Having the bill in place to get it extended.
No. Thank you, members of the town board. It's my honor and privilege to get another chance to stand before you to talk about my favorite subject, the Carrier Park Field of Dreams. The Friends of DeWitt Parks and Recreation, which myself and Jennifer Savastino, we are board members. We are a fundraising arm for the Carrier Park Field of Dreams. And we have a wonderful announcement to make as part of our efforts. John and Laura Lally, who are two incredibly passionate individuals about supporting Syracuse Challenger baseball, which, as the board may recall, I told you the last time, is the largest Challenger division in the country, out of over 1,000 Challenger divisions, special needs divisions that play Little League Challenger baseball. But they're also incredible supporters of a bigger concept, which Challenger baseball stands for. That is to be able to provide children and adults of all differing abilities, all ages, all backgrounds, the facilities necessary for them to be able to play sports and recreation in an adaptive, unified, and inclusive way. They're very big on that. Some of you may know that the Lallies donated $25 million to Syracuse University for the purpose of upgrading all the athletic facilities up there, because they consider each and every student athlete a leader of tomorrow. And they want them to be able to have appropriate facilities, to be able to do their craft, learning their studies and preparing themselves to be future leaders. They have indicated to us that they are ready, willing, and able to give a donation of $475,000 to the Friends of DeWitt Parks and Recreation in 3 installment payments to be made in 2024, 2025, and 2026. Each payment is going to be made and earmarked to the Friends of DeWitt Parks and Recreation. And those monies will be earmarked exclusively for the Phase 3 Superfield installation of the Baptronics, Toth Sports scoreboard vendor, all affixed video and portable scoreboards associated with the Superfield and the new scoreboard associated with the new field number 3, the honorary Challenger field. And for reference, we reference that landscape architect Tim Bonafart's bid tabulation of April 24th, 2024 outlines those permanently affixed video scoreboards and portable scoreboards that we're talking about. The Lally Foundation would also like to have the Lally Foundation logo appear on all the panels of those video affixed and portable scoreboards referenced earlier in my presentation in perpetuity in consideration for the gift. The proposed terms of the Lally Foundation, $475,000 ship will be reviewed and approved by the Lally Foundation, the Friends of DeWitt Parks and Recreation Board, and the town of DeWitt. Then ultimately, the final terms to be approved by the Lally Foundation. Sponsorship being reduced to a sponsorship memorandum, be signed by the Lally Foundation, the Friends of DeWitt Parks and Recreation Board. So we are delighted that all of our scoreboards for the new fields are going to be paid for by the Lallies in support of this magnificent project. The only final comment that I have, I'd share with you that the Lallies have talked to the Friends of and myself about is that providing such facilities and opportunities to children and young adults in communities across America is the way that we continue to make communities like the town of DeWitt strong and vibrant. That's because we are empowering families. We are empowering individuals, no matter what background they come from, to become the best version of themselves. Their gift is all about that. And I'll let my colleague Jennifer Savastino refer to the other potential gift, but I would be willing to bet that that gentleman feels the same way about that potential gift. So I would like to propose that as a resolution for the board to vote on tonight. Any questions?
With that, actually, I don't do that, but I'll make the motion. Favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same. Motion's carried. I said, I'd like to make the motion on the fan finance.
One question, similar to related to the financing, but for the build out of phase 3, does that leave any land undeveloped, or is this developing the entire parcel into kind of its final destination?
Yes, it's the final destination for the parcel that we have. Now, there is a current donation that is not wrapped up yet from a carrier or that's predominantly dedicated to parking. But there are ongoing discussions, we haven't crossed that donation hurdle, but right behind that, carrier was poised to make
More land available?
more land. Yeah.
The reason I ask, and it goes to your point exactly, Dom, is empowering families. And it's hyper local, but if there's a way, there are grants out there that the town could support, maybe a splash pad while we're already tearing up the earth. And that's why I wanted to know if the land was already predestined for a use.
Play is small enough that there'd be plenty of room
Okay.
in the carrier park for that.
I think there's an opportunity that we can find funding.
Yeah, there's plenty of room over by the playground.
That's what I was thinking. We're there a lot, and in the summer, it's super hot and there's a bunch of tiny toddlers running around. They won't stop because they're playing and having fun, but they're very hot and sweaty.
No,
We don't have
there's
one.
a Green space right next to the playground and the pavilion that can be utilized, it wouldn't.
Okay.
take up any of the baseball.
Okay, that's,
Plan.
it's an opportunity that we could explore. Just wanted to know.
There's all sorts, when you said the build out, I was referring to other fields. There's not enough room for fields, but there's other amenities.
Okay.
You know, one of the things on the parking, 3.5 acres. There's a possibility that within strip or say a pizza parlor or ice cream. Kinds. Yeah. Park. Plan.
So you're saying there's a chance, that's all I needed.
That is a very real. That's why I have my motion. Second, Joe. Further discussion, question. Call for the vote on favor. Aye. Opposed, abstained, motion carried. All right, I think. we get- Thank you. Thank you. We'll get the numbers back real quick. Lawyers pay. Yes, a long time. About anything. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll keep you updated as I hear more.
Thank you for helping us complete what is now an 18-year dream. We're on our way. We got Judge Young here, but he was a former member of the board. He's part of this too. This is about empowering families in the town. That's what we stood for. That's what we continue to stand for. And now the board is just about securing generations of kids and families that are gonna play here for a long time. Thank you very much.
Great, Campbell.
The recommendation.
Haley's passed. I love the splash pad. I need that way. So I put the summaries in your packets, but I kind of did this to make it a little bit easier to read instead of two separate.
Take a second, I have one upstairs.
Well, it's a little bit different. So you'll see on the last page, it's kind of the summary of both with office staff salary and just programs. So we're actually financially doing much better than I actually expected when I first started looking at the numbers. Our programs are bringing in a lot. So, which is really happy discovery for me. I thought it was gonna be actually a lot worse than that. So, but we have some ideas for increasing programming, and as you were saying, I know there's some other things that we're looking at right now to kind of do more after school and senior programming and that sort of stuff. So I hope our profits will only go up.
As they do in your staff. That's right, so the more you do, the more you get, the more you get, the more you do.
Exactly.
It's total in-house management of the place to carry your products. I mean, sky's the limit.
We'll get there.
I think the numbers look very good. Looks like it's in the right direction. Thank you very much.
In the right direction. I would love all of you to come out to the Juneteenth celebration next week. Bree just sent an email this morning actually saying that all the vendors are full. It's gonna be a really fun event, so I hope you all come out, at least for a little while. I know it's a 6-hour event, but you're not still. It's a long event.
Be there for a bit.
All right, excellent.
The zeros in the summer day camp.
It's because they're starting in a month. So, so that's why that year-to-date number at the end looks way higher than it ought to. Because that salary is not out yet.
Hey, what's the variance with the AM/PM registration?
So this was January to May. So the year-to-date only shows those fees. So we still have the fall that we'll be collecting fees for. So that's why that.
So people pay for that in the fall?
They pay, some pay monthly, some pay upfront, you know, it kind of depends. But yes, they would only pay through this year, and then in the fall, if they sign up again, they'll pay again.
So do we expect to be around the $200,000 range by the end of the year?
Yeah, I think our numbers our numbers have actually gone up this year, kid wise, so I think it'll actually be a little bit higher.
And it's at this point in time, there are still individuals / children, there's limits, right, on the program. So the summer day camp, for example,
Yes.
there's still is there people on a waiting list right now?
Not for summer camp, actually. So if you know of anybody, we allowed parents the flexibility this year to sign up for individual weeks. So if you know you're gonna be on vacation, you don't have to pay for the entire course of it. So there is a few weeks, 4th of July being one of them, that there is quite a bit of space still. So nobody has gone on a wait list except for our Leadership Academy. That is very full.
What weeks, are all of the weeks for Leadership Academy?
They are full, but there's only 25 kids in there, and we actually ended up hiring 3 main counselors for that, so if you have somebody in mind, the whole idea of Leadership Academy is if you're in 7th and 8th grade, your parents kind of still need you to be somewhere, but you're over camped, like.
Yep, that's where we are. We have a couple weeks of it, and I think I wanted to stick her in a couple more, but it's fantastic to hear that you're booked on it.
Yeah.
The precarious age, that's where kids get introduced to bad habits and other activities.
Yes, and our main thought there is that if we can give them these leadership skills, we can actually hire them for summer staff later on. So it really only kind of feeds into better employees for us down the road. But yes, so I think next year, the mistake we made is we made it week by week for leadership. I think next year we're gonna make it the full course because it's actually going to be building from week 1.
Oh, neat.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So each week will be kind of different skills and different things that they'll be working on.
Great.
And if you guys have service projects, that's gonna be part of what they're doing too, so.
How's the club center? I mean, is the programming separate? The summer, or is it integrated?
So we have quite a few of the kids that go to the home center, going to camp. But the home center is actually only open for, reading, assistance for the summer. So but we're still gonna have a presence over there because I just got the food bank to make them a summer feeding site. So anybody under the age of 18 can go in and pick up breakfast and lunch. And I'm hoping for next school year to have the kids cafe through the food bank, which is hot dinner. So they'll be able to eat breakfast and lunch at school and then get a hot dinner when they get back to the complex. So that's the long-term goal. The only thing I'm gonna go to that meeting next week, by the way, because I'm interested to see what they're planning on doing, but we only have 25 kids in the after-school program over there. And I think there's a need for many more kids than that. The problem we have right now is space. Because we're sharing with the rental office.
That's one of the ask/demands on the new developers. Right?
Okay.
There's been an ongoing conversation that I've been witnessing with code enforcement and a number of issues in Springfield Gardens. Who came to us several years ago had high plans. This was going to be attended to by now. Try to reach out to them.
And there's quite a few maintenance issues over there that need to be
An area that I see it from this project. Same. Solar project. And they were ground mounted systems as well because they couldn't get enough electricity off of those rooftops. And so and I know right now currently we don't allow ground mounted systems, so We have leverage. with them.
Yeah. In the playground that they installed, I'm sure.
But one of our asks could be for investment.
I think that's fabulous.
That, so the actual title on it, those types of things.
That'll be amazing.
Long-term presence.
Yeah.
It's functional.
Cause I would really prefer Rocco's guys to get over there and actually do the maintenance that it deserves. Right now, it's got some serious issues.
So the whole parcel has some serious issues.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board?
Let's give you some roses, let's give you some roses or something.
What's that?
We'll have to give you some roses.
There, yeah, well, you already did this morning.
No, I didn't, my wife didn't volunteer.
Pam dropped by with some beautiful smelling roses. It made my day. My office smells
Patty
fabulous.
did volunteer to come to the June 20th meeting. in Springfield
Yes.
Gardens as well.
I would have come to that, but the June 20th, I am actually the environmental justice chair and the LACP. And that's the very same time. So. Emergency. Is say that it's so strong. September. Try to help people prepare for those types of events.
This meeting in Springfield Gardens, that's something that this department should. I don't think the meeting it is, but we have seen.
I don't think it hurts. I think it'd be nice to have, I mean, the more people from the town of DeWitt that go, I think the better.
We'll be there. Okay, what time is it?
I think it's 5 o'clock. Do you have a location?
I assume,
Okay.
I assume it'll be
We'll
somewhere
be
on
in
Springfield
program at
Gardens.
that time, so you guys can actually see it in action.
Usually in the front of office.
There'll be a lot of people there, so I don't know if that's gonna be big enough.
It won't be big enough.
Plus we'll have a program.
and time.
June
5
20th.
o'clock on the 20th, but I'm not sure on location, because we actually have program until 5 o'clock that day. So, you guys will actually be able to see the program in action if you'd like. Thanks, Patty. Thank you.
By the way, Patty, did you bring the, Patty, did you remember to drop off the checks from the Greek Fest?
Yep. Yep, we have.
Another thing Patty did on Thursday. Thank you, Patty.
I mean, that was more fun than it was work. For sure. The food was excellent, Greek Fest was
Yeah, but
fabulous.
she got promoted to town board.
Yep.
Promotion.
Introduced. to the town board now. It's a Great promotion, but it's gonna put baby pay in.
I agree with Sarah. All right, 2 key proclamations, proclamation. That's right. Pink dot, page in the back. Yep.
The Wayne Town Council resolution in honor of Juneteenth 2024. Whereas on January 1st, 1863, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation declaring that all persons held as slaves within any state or designated as part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States, shall be then henceforward and forever free. And whereas President Lincoln correctly believed that slavery was a violation of the principles of the Declaration of Independence and that its abolition represented complete freedom for the United States. And whereas on June 19, 1865, 2.5 years after President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation, Union soldiers led by Major General Gordon Granger landed at Galveston, Texas with news that the Civil War was over and that the enslaved were now free. And whereas the following year, the first official Juneteenth celebration took place in Texas and have continued throughout the United States over the years, making it the oldest nationally celebrated commemoration of the end of slavery. And whereas Juneteenth is the oldest celebration commemorating the abolition of slavery in the United States today, which celebrates the freedom and achievement of African Americans while encouraging continuous development and respect for all cultures in the African diaspora. And whereas citizens of the town of DeWitt are encouraged to honor the great strides of African Americans that they have made and to learn, unite, and celebrate as we continue to work to create a more perfect union. And Juneteenth is a day of reflection, a day of renewal, a pride-filled day. It is a moment in time taken to appreciate the progress and contributions made by African Americans to our society. And whereas Juneteenth celebration will take place throughout the nation, and now in the year 2024 here in the town of DeWitt, that includes a flag being raised in honor and celebration of Juneteenth, cultural performances, community service events, all done with a spirit of celebration and inclusion, and other meaningful observances that bring us together to celebrate and commemorate the freedom of all people. And whereas the town of DeWitt, through the visionary leadership of the town board and the intentional execution of Juneteenth, a day of celebration by the Department of Parks and Recreation, as a clarion call for us all to join hands as people united, people connected, and people with common vision and purpose to ensure that all residents of the town of DeWitt are celebrated. Now, therefore, be it resolved that our town councilor H. Bernard Alex to hereby proclaim June 19, 2024 as Juneteenth Freedom Day in the town of DeWitt as we embrace the national thematic for the year 2024, beyond their wildest dreams, as a motivation to all people, especially to those who have limited their possibilities of success, that they recall those who were once considered property, but outlived the expectation of those who believed them to be a cheap, accessible labor force as their motivation to soar, excel, and accomplish. Now soar and embrace the possibilities. Be it further resolved that the resolution be distributed, displayed at town hall and on the town website, newsletter, and otherwise publicized during the month of June 2024.
Motion from Councilor Alex, second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried. Thank you. Okay, highway purchase of 2 pickup trucks.
Highway put out a mini bid for a couple of new pickups to replace a 04 van that's out of service and a 2005 pickup. So the lowest price came from Bob Johnson, Spencerport, for $104,073.20 for both pickups. They're both 2025s, and we should see them approximately November. Any questions? The board, we budgeted for both of these trucks for the calendar year.
The other questions, comments?
Usually they go to auction.
That?
They go to auction.
Yeah, I'll go back to you guys, maybe in the fall, once we get the new ones, then I'll give you the years and put it.
I'll make one.
Motion from Joe, a second. Okay.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion's carried.
Thank you.
Okay, next. Is there anyone in here awaiting another agenda item? Is it on the agenda?
No, it's not.
Okay. Can I get back to you? Or is it brief?
Well, it's brief. I've got, yeah, I even have notes.
All right.
So, I should have bought a cushion. But I'm 78 years old. And I refuse to just sit in my seat, hear my two special people. And, when I come to the podium, which I don't normally do because I want to be heard, I want to be seen, and I want to be recognized. Because this is a very important issue. And I'm Mrs. Cooper, which everybody, most of the people who know me, I'm an advocate and an activist. According to the county, they have me Sarah as an activist.
Oh, okay.
Okay, the county, but I'm just playing on this. Right, yes. And I've been in this building so many times, and I feel like, you ought to have some office space for me. And I have a salary coming, which I think I should do a consultant fee. And I'm going to work on that, because today I've been doing some research and finding out what it costs for lobbyists, what it costs for all these other things, okay? Okay, that's what we discussed. But the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I've been doing it for a very, very long time. And my daughter asked me, she said, please, Mom, don't be abrupt and abrasive. Because my patients, as I said, I'm 78. So I want to see some things done. And when I got on the police commission board, my purpose was solutions, not problems. But we have some situations, and I've been talking to people in my neighborhood, and they are not aware of certain things that have been going on with our police department. And I'm just gonna say this. My note is people. We need to make more people aware of what's going on, because it's our tax dollars, our town's tax dollars that are being spent. Second, the service that these children, I can pick up the phone and I can call my chief. And pick up the phone and I can get in touch with Lieutenant, right? Lieutenant Fuller. I keep calling him something else, but he just put on, when I first met him.
Lots of things, man.
Right, yeah, right. But he had a suit on when I first met him, a formal suit. And then when I saw him in uniform, I asked him, are you the same person? So what I'm getting to, Ed, is that we have been at a place where we've been embarrassed. Our town has been on world news, school district, racism, and a number of things. I've came here and I worked with, and I met Delapi, who used to be the chief. And then I worked with everybody that's come after him. So my concern tonight and what I want to propose, and I did talk to Matt briefly, and I talked to the Attorney Mannion at the meeting, that we have a time frame. And I know when you discussed this, and I've called Jack and he's been very kind and listening, and Sarah, what have you, that instead of spending money for a search for another police chief, that this gentleman right here step in, get appointed, and let's get back to work for the town and our community. We shouldn't have to keep waiting. And I understand, let me just finish. I'm gonna just wrap it up. And I know legally, there's some things that have to be resolved. But I would like to ask the board and make the town aware, there are good people right here. And because they are already here, and I understand the process of searching for someone else, that we would consider.
Again, and I understand,
Okay.
I'm not gonna belabor the conversation. I'd be more than happy to continue this
Right,
conversation
right.
with you offline. I owe you a phone call anyways.
That was what I was, right, but you know, I just wanna get the point out so that the board knows and everybody else
We
knows.
typically have a open discussion section.
Right, I know,
Set today,
I know,
so
I know,
more than happy
I
to
know.
accommodate you.
And I didn't wanna get up and leave abruptly. I wanted to wait and see what was going on. But I wanted to get my point across and make sure, okay,
This board is.
that the board knows that I support what we have already in place, okay?
He's got his first letter of recommendation.
Right.
Thank you, Mrs. Cooper.
Oh, you're more than welcome.
Thank you.
And I support Sarah too.
Okay, fencing discussion next.
Yes, so we have a public hearing at our next meeting already scheduled for this. But I sent out last week the proposed changes. I got a little feedback, I had a conversation with Sarah on it. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't any other comments or changes that we wanted before we get to the public hearing about it. It hasn't been noticed yet. If we make any changes now,
And then.
yeah, we're finalizing it now so that it can actually be noticed.
Right, because what you don't wanna do is have substantive changes.
Afterward, yeah.
Restarts.
Yeah.
So if everyone could take a look at that, could research it with whatever modifications.
I don't think anything's been changed since the last time it was circulated. Yep, same document. So is there anything anybody wanted to?
Looked at this and last.
Yeah, no, the whole planning department met, talked with Matt to come up with what they've seen that people are asking for. I had a conversation with Atlas Fence based in DeWitt to talk about what are they seeing that people want to build, and then making sure that our code aligns with allowing the things that are coming forward to the town that we do want to see developed. And I think this moves us in a good direction. And the idea behind getting this done quickly is that there are a number, not a lot, but there are a number of applications that are on hold up in the planning department waiting for the law to change so that they can be approved. It's very nice now that we have new staff. They're holding the line on what our code says, and they realize that there have been some things that have been approved in the past that didn't necessarily meet the code. So rather than just keep approving them, they wanted to get the code right. So I think that's the right tactic for our department to take. So.
Any further discussion, comments? Right, I'm gonna move on to a section of the agenda now, and I'm just gonna preface this with every one of these is an authorization to bid, get numbers, and therefore no risk at this point in time. Each one of them will return to the board with a cost. And at that point in time, the decision comes as to whether we want to implement. But I hope that it could run through this relatively quickly because there is no risk at this time. It's all an authorization to send these things to bid. So the first is on the agenda, it's authorization to bid the town hall security. A motion from Jack and a second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Authorization to bid the Jamesville Community Center. Roof and siding project. I have a motion from Max and a second from Sarah. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion is carried. Authorization to bid the Butternut Creek repairs. Motion from Bernard, a second from Joe. I'll call for the bid. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion carried. Now, some of these may not have been communicated or put out. Ask authorization to award the bid. Well, this, I'll come back to that. Authorization to the hydrogen bid. We have two grants.
And, Doug has put together the proposals. Like the authorized that and associated with the grants will come back with those bids. So we're gonna try to make sure that the cost management are.
Is that, the standard hydrogen?
Standard hydrogen project was delayed, National Grid ended up dropping them. And so the scale of the project is greatly diminished. It's come back to our own grant, so this is taking our excess electricity off of our solar farm and applying that to a water separator down at town hall. Or excuse me, town highway garage, and creating our hydrogen there. I have that in the vehicle. The how that we can reduce our through hydrogen powered vehicles.
And verifying that one is also authorization to bid.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll entertain a motion to authorize release of the hydrogen RFP. Terry and Max, I'll call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Aye.
Motion's carried. Okay, all right, the next ones, yeah, they do get a little complicated. All right, I want authorization to award the bid for the King Street sidewalk.
It's 1, 2, 3.
They want to, they do that?
Yep.
Okay, all right.
That's like a plus.
Well, Doug should have circulated those.
I don't,
Good answer.
Is that, no, that one was Doug sent, it should have been an email from me.
I don't,
Forwarded from.
I did, yep.
Again, this is monies that is.
Yep.
Going to be, applied to the, Biden money.
No, fine.
No, I just. America and return.
Yep, we're fine.
I got it right here.
Why don't we go on reading?
2 bids were received for the King Street Sidewalk Extension Phase 1 projects. Bids were received as follows. Barrett Paving, $480,000. Guinness Nelson Construction, $575,000.
What is the name of the contractor that just did,
For Guinness Nelson.
it was McGinnis Nelson?
Guinness Nelson
Yeah.
did. What was the phase 1 versus phase 2 on this one? Do you remember?
Yeah, it's Guinea Street to,
James Street to Carrier
yeah,
Park.
James Street to Exeter, and Exeter to.
Carrier Park.
It's phased.
Carrier Park opening, where you walk, entrance, I should say.
And do we have,
Phase 1 was the east side of the street with repairs on the west. So currently our sidewalks.
and so now I'm recalling, and I thought it was the phase 1 versus phase 2 was depending on the amount of money that we had left from the. Was that why we did that, or why we broke it up into 2?
He's geographic.
I thought I reviewed this one a while back and I thought both of them. At once. I can check on that. We can make the vote contingent. The coverage of the infrastructure monies.
He's got some other wording in there. I should have read that. A review of the bidders were conducted by our Office of Miller Engineers. For the following findings: Barrett Paving, no errors. Guinness Nelson, no errors. All bidders have included a bid bond in the amount of 5% for the bid. There are no indications that any of the bidders have been disbarred from working in New York State. We recommend awarding to Barrett Paving the amount of $480,000. Should you have any questions or any further comments, please contact Miller Engineers at the phone number.
So as I recall, these 2 and the security enhancements were still out of the Biden money.
Correct. Along with the sidewalk side.
Already done on Waring. Yeah, so since we don't. My only concern is if we approve both of these bids, it's since we don't know the number on the building security enhancements yet.
You only approve one of it. You only approve one.
No, both phases.
Oh, both phases.
That was my question, is just which, if we are running high, where is it, what is not going to be done?
I didn't think we.
Can we get verification on that?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, let's approve. And that the numbers are fall within what was budgeted for these projects, if
Okay.
they don't.
Yeah, okay. That's upon controller's review.
Yeah.
And approval.
Okay. I just don't wanna make sure that I wanna make sure we don't run out of money for the security. Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
Entertain motion from Max, second from Sarah, with all that carried.
Contingent upon review and approval of our town attorney and our town controller up there.
Thank you, guys.
It's your fault.
No, no. Very fixed it. I'll explain it.
Oh, yeah. Just give you. All right, the comment will all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion's carried. Okay, the next one is the set of public hearing for due
That was only the cost for phase one. So you guys were doing the approval for phase one and phase two? Because there's one for 400 and then there's another one for like 300.
No, we only did four, we only did phase one.
Okay, you're not, because phase two's in there too. That's what Doug's looking for, both of them.
He was looking for both.
No.
Well, again, until we know we have the funds, let's make it for phase one and phase two. Providing all the same caveats, right? Phase two will hold if we don't. So just change the resolution to.
The phase one and phase two.
And phase two.
Okay.
And Carrie will make sure. Okay, and you can help me explain this one, right? We've got the abandonment of UEF as part of the Ethan Allen project, and the planning board has approved that open. In order to abandon the street, the town board has to provide an open as well. So, yes. We're looking to schedule a public hearing at the next meeting, and I was gonna notice the neighborhood to make sure that you're aware of that.
I don't know if we want to call it an abandonment, but a closure, because we're keeping the property. We're not giving up any property.
Right.
Well, and we're not even, like, it's still. The road is going to exist on both sides. We're just basically putting a block in the middle, right?
Right.
Like can't go through.
Not abandoned, but discontinued.
Right, thank
Do you have a better word? Terry likes to make up words when we can't figure out what the reason is.
I would say discontinued.
Okay.
Discontinuous is a better word than abandonment. That's what we proposed on the town. Well, do we have time to get the notices out if we do it at the next meeting?
I think that you're having Alana do that. I don't.
I think you want to give people more time. So I would say give them a month and then get the notices out quickly so they'll have time to prepare it.
The only thing I will say to that is now we fall into the summer meetings, so they're in the morning. So this might be one. Because they're gonna care, they're gonna wanna show up, so you might wanna have this one in the evening.
I'd say do the 24th. I mean, there is not a house over there that doesn't know that Dewey Road is being closed.
I can send a notice I can draft it pretty quickly. I can send it tomorrow.
I mean,
As long as you feel it's enough for the property owners to get
the
it.
planning board has had Zoom meetings, they've had hearings, they've had public outreach. Everybody over there knows what's happening.
And I do think if you get a proper notice, giving more people come and speak in favor of the disconnect, then they. Yes.
Well, I think what you're gonna get is the I think you're gonna get people that aren't happy about the project, that wanna talk about the project. It's gonna be keeping, it's gonna be keeping people on track to the road, yeah.
That's my job.
I think I would just say if with Matt, it's not just the public notice, but it's just making sure, working with whomever in planning and zoning. I would say that the letters need to go out tomorrow. Announcing it to make sure that they have enough time.
I've asked Alana to prepare for it. Actually, I had Angela ask, but Angela did ask Alana if she's aware of this notice, that they should be prepared to get them out. Hopefully. Is there any other public hearing to set for the 24th?
Just the fencing. We already have it set up by.
So now it's 10. Entertain a motion to set the public hearing to do disconnect. A motion from Gary, a second from Jack. Call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same, motion carried.
We ask Rick to put it up on the electronic board too.
Yeah.
And what?
Good idea. Good idea, Boulevard.
Yeah.
Keyboard and website.
Yep.
Yeah.
And a website. Okay, it's on the agenda now, jumping down at 12. Authorization to execute the agreement with New York State DOT for the sale of surplus property along Butternut Creek. As you know, this has been a long standing project. Survey, worked with New York State DOT, I was beginning to believe this was never gonna come forward. And it's here, the agreement's in place, it's my understanding there are no costs associated with this. Here's a hit us with cost for this property, but it's basically our Butternut Creek Trail, which we've been working as a park along the creek anyways. I mean, if you remember the years ago, we were fencing great, so we had creek access and I used to somebody from the Chalice side of public. So anyways, this is hopefully gonna go forward in a relatively short period of time, but it's not.
Can we place a contingent on it that should there be a price, it gets revisited at town board?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's. Add that to the resolution, but I would do that.
Okay, great.
Gotta give that a gold star on this one. How many decades have you been working on this one?
Man.
No, I mean, you never gave up on this one. And it's a great concept.
Well, unfortunately, this was gonna be the prototype for the Whitewaters project. Because we still have hopes of turning the Bridge Street Boulevard Whitewater project into ours instead of vision. But the Witts family is stuck by, right? Love fountains, colored lights, benches, the New York State Trail runs across there. The fact that one time Benderson was willing to put a boardwalk on their side of the property where there could be little shops, ice cream parlor, pizza, whatever, or the park. But this one would be even more complicated because it's New York State DOT and no port. So I don't know that I'll have 2.5 decades.
Sarah and Max are signed up. You're the only two that might have another 25 years.
We are kids.
Okay. Did I call for the vote?
You don't have a motion yet.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion for Carrie and a second from Joe. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Same. Motion's carried. Thank you. Okay. May 13th and May 20th. May 13th first, motion, Harry, second, Jack, I'll call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same. Yes, Motion's carried. Okay, May 21st. Carrie and Jack again, call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay, check registries, I believe we can do these in one single vote. All concert.
I have a question on,
Yeah.
page 42, there's a carrier field maintenance Shenango contracting $5,700. Sure. Yeah, thank you. And then the other question I had was, page 44. $18,192 Green Street, PP 2020. MAST.
It's actually regarding. I spoke with controller today and I think you and me need to visit the situation with that's the solar array company. So the solar array and National Grid. We need to do a little research into how the payments are being, that's the.
That's with the budget meeting. We got a budget meeting this week.
I think it needs a little more research than just the budget meeting.
Okay.
I think we need to have a discussion about it with.
I've offered Carrie expertise help on this too. If she,
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
she's never come to me and asked me continually every time I say, are we getting our credits, right? Are they being applied correctly? With this new owner, we should have RER Energy in our contract with them. We had the right to purchase. Within the first 3 years of the operations of the solar park, they claimed all the NYSERDA credits and the depreciation. So the investors on this have made their money in those upcoming years. Because of the depreciation, it should have been in our contract with RER, and I've asked a bunch of times, I don't think I got any answer. Was that carried over in purchasing industry? Because with RER, we had the ability to buy the facility at the cost of depreciation, which was gonna be pennies on the project. We've made a lot more money on our energy bills as an owner, just should be among the fees. And then there was, Hugh Jones was the guy. Terry Jones and William contracted last week, we have these areas by the offset, so, but I think that all went away with Terry Brown. I've offered it to Terry, but he could bring in you. And it's got to work with the Pentagon, with solar panels on the Pentagon, 70, he holds several patents on solar technology, and he's with every down, just like you brought in and consultant on the whole time. Just get away from us because we don't have the expertise.
Right.
To deal with it.
So that's the research that we need to.
Good thing I brought it up, huh?
Well, I was emailing it today. I'm glad you caught it.
Okay.
Because that, and then on top of that, we've got a mess with Charter Communications. That we gotta straighten out. We're paying.
Charter Communications Inspector, we had a meeting with them last Friday.
But I'd be happy to set you guys up.
We're paying them way too much. Ripping us off.
We had a meeting last Friday. We had 9 out of the 10 departments attended. So that's underway.
But yeah, Hugh was the guy, and I'd be happy to sit in on that first meeting.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it up.
No, thank Jack for bringing it up.
And again, I keep asking Carrie. She hasn't said she needed that review. Okay, couple announcements, right? DeWitt is hosting the New York ERP Pro 910 Time and technology future routine, thing. You all should be aware of the June theme celebration on June 9th, from 12 to 6. Are there any other announcements or
But you have to vote on the check register to accept it.
what do I need to vote on?
Check register.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I have a motion from Jack and a second from Carrie. I'll call for the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, motion carried. Okay, is there any other announcements?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
no announcement, but I would like on the record to say thank you. Thank you to the Town of DeWitt Fire Department and to the Town of DeWitt Police Department. Their presence, their efficiency of their work, and just being intentionally supportive of my family and I during, had fire on a early Friday morning. And they were there. They were there until the end. The police did not leave until we left. And I want to say thank you that they were just outstanding. Got the fire out quickly and answered every question and made sure that we were comfortable because we came out as we were, asleep. And thank you all. And the best neighborhood here.
It's good to
The
hear.
Oralton people are the most wonderful. And my man Jack, he and his wife are like,
I'm still speechless with the vision of you came out as is. But I'm gonna think about that when I go to bed tonight.
yeah. But all of you, whatever the part, whatever you've done, I appreciate it. My wife and I appreciate it. The family appreciate it. We'll be displaced for a minute, but we are all here and well, and things can be replaced.
Code enforcement there the next day to inspect.
They were there the next day. That morning, I mean, everyone was doing what they could do to help expedite the matter of resolution and movement. So thank you all.
Good to hear. Let us know what else you need. Any other announcements? That I'm gonna move into executive session. For those of you that are here, you might need a signature or a witness or something. Depending on myself and the board members. So give you all credit for hanging in there.
How much are $5, right?
No, $2.76.
It's too here. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, perfect. Buy two of them from.
Russian.
But
I got it. We just got to.
Hey, that was my first one up there, man.
thank you so much. Thank you.
We got.
We're at.
That was a couple of hours.
You have to make a motion.
Going into executive, I make a motion from Sarah and a second from Max. Go into executive session, I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, staying, motion carried. Thank you.
Yeah.